From Liberty Street Restaurant in the downtown Galleria, it's the Paul Hornung Sports Showcase with your host, College and Pro Football Hall of Famer, Paul Hornung. Brought to you by UPS. We run the tightest ship in the shipping business. By the Collins Auto Group, where one name means more. More selection, more value, more service. By Humana, high-quality healthcare services at affordable prices. By Coors Light, there's no slowing down the silver bullet. By your local Chi-Chi's Mexican restaurant, where every day is a celebration of food. And now, here's Paul.
Okay. Welcome. We're coming to you live from the Liberty Street Restaurant in the downtown Galleria. I think we got a good show for you tonight. If you're a horse racing fan, I know you're going to love it. We also want to welcome Churchill Downs as one of our new sponsors. In fact, I was out there Saturday and we hit the first trifecta that's ever been we've ever had at Churchill Downs. Didn't have trifecta wagering until last Saturday, but it looks like it's going over great. We got a real good Breeders' Cup show for you. We're going to take a look at all the Breeders' Cup races. I've got Eddie R. Carroll here, probably one of the great jockeys of all time, maybe the best 5 Kentucky Derby winners. I've got our good friend Don Brumfield here, who just retired from horse racing, won more races in the state of Kentucky than any other jockey. We're going to take a look at the college games and see if U of L can get back on the winning track, and Kentucky. We're going to take a look at some pro games, of course, and we got some surprises for you I think you're going to enjoy. So keep that dial right there at the Paul Hornung Sports Showcase. We hope you enjoy this show. We're coming to you live from the Liberty Street Restaurant.
Some insurance didn't even pay for your mom's allergy shots.
Or your cold last month. And because I didn't reach the deductible, it didn't pay for my stitches.
Humana has a range of plans to meet your needs. From affordable deductibles to no deductible at all.
Sue, what did my company insurance cover last year?
Nothing.
If you want coverage you can use, you want Humana.
Bill Collins, how do you do?
Bill Collins Ford celebrates their 20th anniversary with special deals available only at Bill Collins Ford. Now get 9.9 financing plus rebates up to $1,250. Most dealers offer one or the other, but now during Bill Collins' 20th anniversary, you get both. 9.9 plus rebates up to $1,250 on every 89 and 90 in stock. Choose from over 400 new cars and trucks at Bill Collins Ford. See Friday or Sunday's Courier Journal for details.
Mr. Ian McKenzie.
I'm Angus McKenzie. Ian's moved down the road.
Today, with service to 175 countries.
Oh, you've been wanting Ian Alistair, McKenzie.
UPS delivers to nearly 4 billion people.
Also for McKenzie. Aye.
Including the extraordinary concentration of Mackenzies along the northeast coast of Scotland.
Mr. Ian Alistair McKenzie.
No trouble finding me, did you, lad?
No trouble at all.
UPS. We run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
We could have been satisfied being the home of the chimichanga. After all, a chimichanga is the Chi-Chi's celebration, all wrapped up in a tortilla. But hearing you say wow wasn't enough. So we created the Cowabunga Chimichanga Special. It's our famous chimichanga plus cheese, nachos, and sopapillas, all for $6.95. Wow, you say? No, Cowabunga.
Chi-Chi, Chi-Chi, a celebration of food.
If you feel life's more interesting when you make a splash.
It's the right beer now.
If you feel a great beer starts with great water.
It's the right beer now.
Because you're the kind of person who likes to get to the bottom of things. Call for the silver bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
Coors Light. It's the right beer now.
Welcome back. We're back here live, as I said, from the Liberty Street Restaurant in the downtown Galleria, and I'm very proud tonight to be able to introduce a great friend of mine and an old friend. And you know, it's hard to introduce a friend when you're going to say he's the greatest jockey of all time and all this, but I tell you, he's one hell of a man and a good friend of mine. He rode 5 Kentucky Derby winners is all, and especially around the East, they call him the king, and there was a better rider. We haven't seen him too much. Let's welcome Eddie Carroll back home to Kentucky. All right, Eddie. Eddie lives down in Miami now, and had a quick trip up here. And I was kind of surprised, you know, when I called you a couple of weeks ago, I said, would you come up for the Breeders' Cup? I mean, weekend. I was hoping that you didn't have 30 or 40 people that you invited down for the Breeders' Cup and couldn't make it, because I surely wanted to have you on here. And I know it's a pretty big week down in Miami right now, isn't it?
Certainly is. The biggest.
Yeah.
In racing, I mean.
How many people are they going to be able to put in Gulfstream Park Saturday?
Well, Gulfstream holds about 35, and they'll have 50 in there.
Yeah, we had 71,000 here at Churchill Downs last year.
Well, yes, but Churchill Downs can handle it.
Yeah.
I don't think Gulfstream can.
Yeah. Eddie, what are you, 71 years old now?
3.
I tell you, you look fantastic. 3. And 2 bypasses. And I'll tell you one thing, folks. I've tried to stay up with this guy on more than one occasion. We've been to a lot of golf tournaments together. In fact, in a period of 25 years, I've been Eddie's guest down at Lagos. I don't know how many. I never played on a losing team. Of course, I always had him as a partner, one of the great thieves in the world on the golf course. And
can't play.
How's your golf game now, Eddie?
Can't play at all. It just got old, and they just can't hit the ball any distance.
Is Shoemaker going to visit you this week down in Miami? I know you two are very, very close.
He's down there this for the Breeders' Cup races, and he's made a trip around the world, you know, as you know, I think. And he's ridden in just came back from Australia. He's been in every country in the world.
Let's talk a little about your 5 Derby winners, Eddie. I'm sure that you've talked about them so many. In fact, we did a show with Eddie called The Greatest Sports Legends, and of which we had all the films of all the races.
We did that quite a while ago.
Remember that?
That's right.
About 15 or 20 years ago.
That was a great program.
But I'm just looking. Lauren, Whirlaway, Hoop Jr., Citation, Hill Gale. Of course, Citation, Whirlaway. Those are the 2 they kind of always remember, don't they?
Yeah, they were the easy ones.
They were the easy ones, right. What about the one year? I've always figured, how many derbies did you pick the losing horse when you could have ridden the winner?
Well, one, I was working for Green Tree, and we ran an entry, Shutout and Devil Diver.
Devil Diver,
and,
right.
I picked Devil Diver. He truly was the best horse. He just wasn't that day. But he went on to prove that he was the best of the 2 horses later on in life.
How would your man have stacked up today, Mr. Jones?
Oh, he'd have been great in any generation. He's the greatest trainer in my time, and he was really a great man to ride.
What was the story about Citation? You wanted to ride the other horse, the other great 2-year-old, Cold Town, right?
Well, I asked him
who was a 2-year-old, right?
I asked him who was the best. Cold Town had set a record over in the Bluegrass Stakes, and when I got to Kentucky, everybody was talking about Cold Town, and I went to him and says, "B.A., I want to win the Derby. Tell me, how about this Cold Town? Tell me, he just set a record over there." And he looked me right in the eye and says, if he was the best, you would be on him. He says, "You're on the best."
You hadn't ridden,
Citation.
You hadn't ridden him at that time?
No, I hadn't ridden him.
That was the first time?
I'd never ridden Cold Town.
Oh,
I'd ridden Citation.
I see, okay.
Yes, in fact, I'd won the Derby trial on Citation. He was the first horse that had ever won the Derby trial and the Kentucky Derby. He's the first one that ever did that.
You know, we have somewhat in common. Everywhere I go, people always ask me, "Well, Paul, don't you wish you were playing today? Look at the money." I mean, and it's even more magnified in your field, for heaven's sakes. I mean, my goodness, all the winners that you had, it's the same kind of relative thing.
Sure it is.
What was a good salary for a jockey, average-wise, during your span, Eddie?
Well, I was, the one thing, you know, when I quit riding, I did carry one thing with me. I was the leading money-winning rider in the world. I'd won $30 million. Took me 30 years to do that. These kids today do that in 2 years.
2 years, right.
Right. So I wasn't on the list the first 2 years that I retired.
Right.
Took me right off the list.
Took you right off the list. But nobody will forget, how special was it for you? You know, we're very proud of the Derby here, and I know you are, but tell the folks, how was it more important in those days, you think? We've got so much racing today. We've got the Breeders' Cup, and we've got so much hype, you know, in all the awards, all over, whatever sport it's in. But the Derby has always held its importance.
I still think it. I still think it has. I still think it's that way for jockeys, trainers, and owners. I think they'd rather win the Derby than any single race. Maybe not the $3 million race that's coming up. Maybe not that, because the money has such a big. But the money has that to do with the Kentucky Derby. If you win the Kentucky Derby with the 3-year-old, look what you've acquired. You've acquired $1 million immediately.
Right.
In worth, your horse is worth that much.
And of course, the winner of the Classic will get $1,350,000. That's the winner's share now.
Well, certainly.
And,
so everything's becoming relative.
It would take you in your day 6-7 years to win that, right? As a jockey.
But the Derby and prestige, I still think is it. I believe that.
What was the best horse that you've? What was the best horse that you've ridden? What was the best horse that you've seen during your time? And is there anybody that stands out over your whole life, Eddie, in looking at the great horses that you've seen?
Well, I think the greatest horse I ever rode, and naturally it's easy to say Citation, but I don't think he was as good a horse as Kelso, by the way. Kelso happened to be something special.
He really was.
And he was Horse of the Year 5 years, and of course being a gelding allowed him to do that. It's a horse that's...
held some world records at different distances?
Everything. He did it all. Could sprint, run a distance, carry weight. He could do it so much. And I think that he was the best horse that I ever rode. And I think the best horse I ever saw was a horse called Ribot. I rode against him in the Arc de Triomphe in France. And I think he was the greatest horse that I ever seen run.
Secretariat?
Secretary was a great horse, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Is there anybody do you think Easy Goer could be put in that class? Of course, he's got to win Saturday. He looks like he's going to be the odds-on favorite.
Well, he looks like a great horse. By the way, I like Sunday Silence in that race.
You like Sunday Silence?
Are you trying to?
Yes, sir.
Are you trying to sway me?
I love to see Arthur Hancock win it. I tell you.
Well, I don't know.
You know me. I've never bet on a favorite in my life.
well, Whittingham's a good friend of mine, and that's who I'm rooting for. But I happen to think he's a good horse.
By the way, the gentleman just moved in here is David Carrico from Churchill Downs, and
David.
Let's welcome David. He's got a special award to show Mr. R. Carroll, and I think there's a little story that goes along with it.
There is a little story, Paul. A little unfinished business involving both of you. Last year, '88, Eddie came in for the Derby, and he had a couple purposes, one of which was to be acknowledged for his 50th anniversary aboard his first Derby winner, Lawrence, 1938. The other reason for coming in addition to being here, was that the Kentucky Derby Festival, who annually awards an individual who contributes most to the thoroughbred industry, an award called the Silver Horseshoe Award. It's given every year at the annual They're Off luncheon. And Eddie, I had the privilege of being around you that Derby quite a bit, and I was a kid in a candy shop. But we were on our way down to the Galt House, and Eddie was nervous. He said the emphysema is going to get the best of me. Well, make a long story short, everybody had a great time. He knocked him dead.
Sure did.
And afterward, a mutual friend and a longtime friend of Eddie's came up to this, and it was one Paul Hornung. And Eddie was sitting there with his award, and Paul says, "Come on, Eddie, let's get out of here and have a few." And whereupon he picked up the trophy and broke it right in half. He broke the Silver Horseshoe Award right in half. So when I heard Eddie was going to be around, excuse me, I wanted to come by, and the Derby Festival got us a new one, Eddie.
Oh, great.
And a year and a half later,
great.
it's still as deserving. It's more deserving. This man represents the sport of thoroughbred racing like none other. He's a fine gentleman.
Thank you. Yeah, isn't that good? How about that? Wow. That's good, eh?
I had to pay the difference in making
Did you really?
Did you know that?
Did you really?
Yeah.
Well, he had the trifecta. He can afford it.
Oh, did
Much
he?
money as I lost at Churchill Downs. Are you crazy? But anyway, it was a beautiful award, and I picked up the thing. I said, "Come on, Eddie, let's get out of here." And it broke right in half.
Yeah, the top of it's fragile. I can see that.
And one of these days, a lot. What have you done with all your keepsakes and trophies and winners' Derby cups?
Well, a lot of them, my wife gave a lot of them to the museums, the one in Saratoga. The only one that I kept, and it kind of looks good in my living room, is the Preakness. I think they call it the, I don't know the name of it, but it's a very famous trophy that was
The Woodlawn.
Woodlawn Voss.
That's right.
Yeah, the Woodlawn Voss was buried during the Civil War, and after that they dug it up, and it's a beautiful thing. Naturally, I have the replica. I'd like to own the original. The replica is beautiful.
Okay, I want to thank David Carrico from the Church of Downs for dropping by. Eddie's going to stay right here. We're going to answer some questions. And Don Brumfield is going to join us right after this, so stay tuned.
When only the best is good enough, you'll always find the best at Roof Lighting. Diverse designs, superior styling, unsurpassed quality, and a professional staff to assist you. That's Roof. And opening soon, Roof's new lighting design center in Eastgate, just east of Middletown. An additional location to serve your total lighting needs. Roof Lighting, the complete lighting, design, and planning centers. Here for you because you deserve the very best.
Here's to the people who work so hard to keep our city going. And here's to all the things you do to keep our city growing. Here's to the people we're looking to make this city's dreams come true. To the people, hard-working people, Bank of Louisville's here for you.
We really saved.
I like it.
I like my bottom line, I hate wasting time. I like my MCI. I like you loud and clear, I like you close and near. I get more. I like my MCI. I like my MCI.
You know, I've been investing with J.C. Bradford for over 20 years. Why? Well, first of all, I trust them. They know what they're doing here, and the bottom line is I've made money with J.C. Bradford. You don't have to have a large portfolio to get good service from Bradford's brokers. Here at Bradford, they treat everyone like a big investor. They really do care. So if you want to watch your money grow, call J.C. Bradford and let them go to work for you. I did.
Beautiful furniture from who? Smith's Furniture, that's who. It brings out the best in everyone.
On Saturday, November 4th, the world's best thoroughbreds, jockeys, and trainers will assemble on one track to compete in racing's greatest day, the Breeders' Cup. 7 championship races for $10 million, live from Gulfstream Park. And you can get in on the Breeders' Cup action.
Catch all the excitement of 6 races live at Churchill Downs, plus all 7 Breeders' Cup races starting at special post time, 11 a.m.
Yeah, we start at the 3A pole.
That's right.
Broke right on the turn.
Welcome back. We're live.
Started coming
We're
by
live
the
right here
stand.
on Story Cable Channel 11. My guest, of course, from out of town is the great Eddie Arcaro. And right here, another hard boot, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to welcome. He's decided to hang it up and retire, one of the great jockeys of all time. He won over 4,000 races, won a Derby of his own on Kauai King, and he's still the only jockey to win the Oaks in the Derby in the same year. He won that on Native Street, the same year that Don Brumfield won the Kentucky Derby here. So everybody's familiar with Brumfield here in Kentucky, and we're welcoming him back to our show. How about it? Hey, Danny. You know, all our friends, Donnie, it seems to say, well, Brumfield can still ride. Why is he hanging it up? I know you got all that money buried somewhere, so you don't have to worry about working too much, but tell us why you decided to retire, Don.
Well, I just decided that I'd had my day in the sun, and I didn't really feel like I was able to give 100% any longer. And I figured whenever I couldn't do as good enough to satisfy myself, I couldn't satisfy anyone else.
How about now you're going You're going to school. You're going to be a steward. You're going down to Hialeah and work in a couple of weeks. Tell us how has that changed? You know, you don't have to get up and work out horses anymore. Are you going to do that any?
I haven't been getting out and getting on any horses in the morning, but I was working at Keeneland, and I was getting up every morning around 6 o'clock and learning how to tie this tie and get to work and trying to be. It's a whole different ball game. You learn a whole lot of stuff that you didn't really think about before. From the way the races are put together and all of the work that goes on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know about. And in order to get to the place where I want to be, I need to learn all of that sort of thing and know how the inner works of the office is done, and it's just a lot different than I thought that it was going to be.
Well, you stood out riding around here for a long, long time. You're one of the great favorites here in Kentucky. Eddie, did you two ever ride against each other? I know you watched Donnie ride for a long, long time.
I rode a little with Don, but I was kind of going out when he was
coming in.
Right, and I didn't ride in the Derby you're talking about. I'd already retired. In fact, I did the telecast on it.
I'd be interested in both of you gentlemen, your remarks about the modern jockeys right now. The kids, Pat Day, of course, just kills everybody around here. He just rides. He's always in that winner's circle.
Yeah, he's good.
What about Pinkai and a few others?
I think they're good. I think they're good. I think they're good as any. As good as the crowd I rode against.
Yeah, what about the shoe?
Nobody's any better than Shoemaker.
Nobody was better than
No.
Shoe. Donnie, what's your opinion on some of the great jockeys?
Well, I agree with Eddie. I don't see how you can get past Shoemaker. He's done everything that can be done and won 8,000 or close to 9,000 races, and he's just phenomenal. Sometimes he doesn't look like he's doing anything, but then horses run for him, and they always have. Pat Day is a great rider, and he makes it look so easy sometimes that you don't give him any credit, but the horses just run for him. And I don't know exactly. If I knew exactly what he was doing, I'd have tried to do it myself.
Eddie, the Breeders' Cup has got to be the greatest thing that's happened to racing in a long, long time, and we're going to take a look at some of the races, but I'd be interested, you know, this idea was, of course, John Gaines's idea about the Breeders' Cup. This has really just taken the country by storm, hasn't it?
Should put up a plaque for that man, or a monument of him. We needed the same thing as the Super Bowl and the World Series. That's what the Breeders' Cup is to racing. We should have had that many, many years ago.
Well, I tell you, let's take a look at some of the races right now, and I'd be interested anytime you want to jump in, we're going to take a look at the races as they start. The fourth race on the program down at Gulfstream Park will be the Breeders' Cup Sprint. That'll be the first $1 million race, $450 to the winner. And then we're going to take a look at the entries right now as we pan down. And anything jumps out at you in here, Pat Day is on Once Wild, and looks like he's 10-1. And boy, it's awful hard for any hard boot around here when you look at Pat Day 10-1. And of course, Lucas has got 11 entries in this Breeders' Cup Day races. Who do you like in here, Donnie? Let's take a quick look at the sprint.
I think I'm kind of partial to Mr. Nickerson. He's run good in New York, and if you can win there, you can usually win wherever you go.
You know, Warner Jones has got a horse in there. They don't give him much shot, but he might be coming at if it's a real fast pace. He's running real well right now. Is Carborundum, and I like Mr. Nickerson myself, along with Dispersal. I think they might make up a pretty nice perfect, and that's the way I'm going to go. What about you, Eddie? Who do you like in this sprint?
You've got to leave me out of this contest.
Yeah.
I think I go to the races once a year.
Well,
that's the Kentucky Derby.
That's it, right? That's right. You don't get to the races too much. When I'm down in Florida, it's awful hard to get you to go to the races, I'll tell you that.
I'd rather go on the golf course.
This might be interesting who you pick. You can pick just as good by looking at these horses. So now the second race on the agenda is the Juvenile Fillies. It's for 2-year-olds, $1 million, of course, $450 to the winner, mile and 16th on the dirt. Donnie, once you started back, and of course, this is a pretty good race here. I think this is a wide open race. Stella Madrid is the 5-2 favorite. Another Lucas entry. I like a horse in there, 7, Trumpets Blair. Warren Crowell's horse, he's 6-1, and I give Mott's horse a little shot. They don't know how good this horse is. Pat Day on a 15-1 shot. I'll take a chance with that. What about you, Donnie, real quick?
Well, like you said, that Stella Madrid looks awful good, and I kind of like that Go for One filly. She's been running well too.
Go for One, Badgett's horse.
Yes, sir.
Eddie, see anything in there stands out for you?
Don't know any of them.
Okay, we move right along. The next one, our Carol's not going to give us a top, is the Distaff for fillies and mares 3 years old and up, 1/8 of a mile. Now here's a race that's very interesting, and this is kind of, you see the L's up there, that's Lucas. He's got 4 entered in here. It's a 3-horse entry. And Bayakoa, of course, the 6-5 favorite, won a big race up at Keeneland. And I understand from some of my touts and that he came back and he might have bled a little bit in that race. I don't know if you've heard that or not, Donnie, up around Keeneland. But he looks like McNally's horse is 6-5. I'm going to, well, if he's 6-5, I'm going to throw him out. Open Mind will probably win the horse of the year in his category. And the 1 entry, as you see, Wonders of Light, Winning Colors, and they're even give him some publicity as a rabbit, which is unbelievable, Kentucky Derby winner. And Open Mind, the entry with Bayakoa was strong. But I'm going to go for the bottom horse, Gorgeous. And he's only lost 1 race. He's had a good rest, and he runs good fresh. And I think he may be coming at the leaders if the speed kills a few people. Eddie, anything in there?
I like that's. I seen this filly run Bayakoa, and I really believe she's an outstanding filly.
She really is an outstanding.
She's an outstanding, but she's just not ordinary.
Donnie?
Well, I believe Bayakoa is the best filly in the race. If she gets on the lead and they don't run her in the ground with the other speed horses.
Did you hear anything about
They're
that?
They're going to try to do that.
Yes, I heard something about that she might have trickled a little bit after that race at Keeneland.
But is that serious enough?
I don't think that it was an awful humid day the day she ran there, and
she's going to be in good climate.
If it's, that weather could have something to do with that.
You'll be in Florida. That's good climate.
Next race is the juvenile fillies, 2-year-olds, $1 million, a mile and a 16th on the dirt. Let's see, Zilzal, the horse from Europe, real strong favorite in here, I think. 9-5, undefeated, 5 out of 5, won $695,000. And it's a pretty good race too. Steinland, another one of Lucas's horse, with Santos aboard. Looks like the horse that might give him some problem. Now we'll be back in a few minutes. We're going to take a look at the last 2 races on the card. This, of course, is a Cup Classic. I might have a chance to ask Eddie a question. Stay right with us. We'll be right back.
We ain't on, we can talk now.
I never imagined that a prescription would cost $80. My insurance keeps going up, and it doesn't even cover prescriptions.
The Humana Gold Plan can cover prescriptions, vision care, and all Medicare-eligible doctors and hospital costs.
There's so much Medicare still doesn't cover.
Chances are the Humana Gold Plan covers it.
It's all so complicated.
No, it's all so easy. Call 1-800-647-0070 now.
Bill Collins, how do you do?
Bill Collins Ford celebrates their 20th anniversary with special deals available only at Bill Collins Ford. Now get 9.9 financing, plus rebates up to $1,250. Most dealers offer one or the other, but now during Bill Collins' 20th anniversary, you get both. 9.9 plus rebates up to $1,250 on every 89 and 90 in stock. Choose from over 400 new cars and trucks at Bill Collins Ford. See Friday or Sunday's Courier Journal for details.
Every night while you're sleeping, UPS is maintaining its status as the only company that delivers overnight to every address coast to coast. And we guarantee it with UPS Next Day Air. And because we're so efficient, we'll still do it for up to half what other companies charge, which is guaranteed to cause our competition some sleepless nights. UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
For help with the design and purchase of a new air compressor, you need Air Systems. For service or repair of your present system, you need Air Systems. For parts and lubricants for your air compressors, you need Air Systems. If your compressed air system fails at any time of the day or night, you need Air Systems. I'm Jim Turner, owner and president of Air Systems. If you need a new air compressor, parts, repair service, or emergency rental, call me at Air Systems in Louisville.
On Saturday, November 4th, the world's best thoroughbreds, jockeys, and trainers will assemble on one track to compete in racing's greatest day, the Breeders' Cup. 7 championship races for $10 million, live from Gulfstream Park. And you can get in on the Breeders' Cup action.
Catch all the excitement of 6 races live at Churchill Downs, plus all 7 Breeders' Cup races starting at special post time, 11 a.m.
You want to go to that one?
Yeah, we're going to take a look at the juvenile right now. The mile and the 16. 2-year-old colts for $1 million, $450 to the winner. And it looks like our old friend McGahee's got a pretty good shot here. He's got 2, rhythm and adjudicating. And pretty good entry, Donnie, huh?
Yeah, it is a really good entry. Now, they'll probably breed 2 good colts, but there's a colt in there, the number 5 horse, Shotgun Scott. Belongs to a very good old friend of mine called Gene Friedberg. He ran second in one of the Florida Stallion series and had quite a bit of trouble and came back and won the $150,000 race there at Calder.
I thought Pat Day was going to ride that horse, Shotgun. Originally, he was named on that horse, I thought.
Well, he could have been. I see Garra's on him here, and I think he's been riding him.
Frankie Brothers likes his horse in there a little bit, too.
Frankie's colt can run.
Yeah, he says a big old long striding horse might pull an upset. And I like a little horse in there called Slavic with Santos up. I think he's got a shot. Now, very quickly we move along to the next to the last race. This is for $2 million. Breeders' Cup on the turf. And myself, I like Caltech in there. He's 4 for 4. This horse ran for $25,000 claim. And horse likes the turf. He likes the turf. And this is a wide open race too. You like anything in there, Donnie?
I kind of like El Senor.
El Senor. He's going to be the favorite. He'll be 2 or 3 to 1, I guess. Now let's talk about the big one. We got a little time here. $3 million, $1,350,000 to the winner. Easy Goer, Sunday Silence, and the rest. And I think that's just the way that it's been billed. Thank goodness we've got Easy Goer and Sunday Silence in here. We had 101 pre-entries in this Breeders' Cup races, and we got 83 entered so far today. And Eddie, I know you've seen Easy Goer, and he looks like one of the great horses, but around here in Kentucky, we sure like to see Sunday Silence.
Well, you can't knock him. I like him, in fact, but you know, a horse that could knock them both out is Present Value. He's probably the best old horse in America today. And he's been on the improve. He's won his last 5 starts and runs fast.
That's right.
So he's got a shot in there too.
And everybody, of course, seems to love Easy Goer. How about you, Donnie?
Well, it's kind of hard to get around Easy Goer, but if I was going to try to pick one, a long shot special, I'd go for Western Playboy.
Western Playboy. That's Harvey Veneer's horse, of course. It's taken a lot of beating over the last couple of years. This horse could run last year, didn't he?
Yes, sir. He's a nice horse. Right. He's just now came back and won the Pennsylvania Derby by 17 lengths, and I think that's a pretty good race. And Harvey's probably gave him some time and got him back in tip-top shape. I don't know if he's a good enough horse to beat Easy Goer, because Easy Goer is a good horse.
You know, that brings up a point. You know, the Phipps have done so much for racing, and it seems the last 5 years, boy, their stock, you know, they've had great stock all their life, but they haven't had as many wins as they've had. What's been the big change there?
Well, I think that I've seen that happen in my life with big establishments. They have waves. They'll go through a rut, and in some way they change their breeding around a little bit, and it'll get on an upswing. And I think that's what's happened to them.
Well, listen, I got a few little parting gifts for my guests here. They're the gifts from Singh Jewelers, and they made up some nice sterling silver little ring. You can put all your safety deposit keys on this.
Oh, good.
You know, from all the money. And Donnie wants you to have one, and I hope you enjoyed it. And also from Chi-Chi's, take this, Eddie, and you can have a couple free dinners anytime you'd like. Take some people down to Chi-Chi's and get the best Mexican food. I want to thank both of you for dropping by. And Eddie's on his way back. Are you going to go out to the races Saturday? Or are you going to watch them on TV?
TV.
You're going to watch them on TV?
I'm going to have an apartment full of people and a lot of booze and a big tube.
And a big tube. And Donnie, thanks a lot for dropping by. We wish you a lot of luck.
Well,
He's going to be down in your territory down there and being a steward down in Hialeah, and I'm sure you're going to be back in Kentucky before too long.
You're going to come over to Hialeah and give me some moral support?
Don Brumfield and Eddie Arcaro for stopping by to see us tonight. How about that? Thank you, man.
Thank you.
We'll be back in a minute.
We'll make a good story.
We could have been satisfied being the home of the chimichanga. After all, a chimichanga is the Chi-Chi's celebration, all wrapped up in a tortilla. But hearing you say wow wasn't enough. So we created the Cowabunga Chimichanga Special. It's our famous chimichanga plus cheese, nachos, and sopapillas, all for $6.95. Wow, you say? No, Cowabunga.
Chi-Chi, a celebration of food.
Bill Collins, how do you do?
Bill Collins Ford celebrates their 20th anniversary with special deals available only at Bill Collins Ford. Now get 9.9 financing, plus rebates up to $1,250. Most dealers offer one or the other, but now during Bill Collins' 20th anniversary, you get both. 9.9 plus rebates up to $1,250 on every 89 and 90 in stock. Choose from over 400 new cars and trucks at Bill Collins Ford. See Friday or Sunday's Courier Journal for details.
This is the shop of Samsat Bazaar, a thriving establishment on the outskirts of Bangkok. Unlike other international executives, he has no phone system, no computers, not even a fax machine. He does, however, enjoy one modern and efficient service nearly 4 billion people in 175 countries today can take for granted. UPS. We run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
If you don't want to slow down on your way to the top.
It's the right beer now.
Because you know to make a beer as refreshing as a mountain stream, you gotta start with a mountain stream.
It's the right beer now.
When a night on the town might last all night, call for the taste preferred at better night spots. The silver bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
It's the right beer now.
Welcome back to the Liberty Street Restaurant. We just want to tell everybody sitting at home, if you want to come down here, get involved. We got a few games for you if you can outpick me each week. On the Pro Picks of the Week, we're going to put your name in a hat and draw you for 2 Super Bowl tickets. Now we're going to welcome you to the UPS college football lineup. We always try to take a look at the games significant to our area here and close by, of course, and Indiana is included. And I've been doing the games for Sports Channel now out of New York, which goes in about half the country, and we do the replays for Notre Dame. I've been able to watch them all year long, and of course they're not going to have any trouble with Navy. In fact, when they beat Navy and when they beat SMU next week, they will establish the longest winning streak in the history of that school. So Lou Holtz has turned, a couple years ago he was 13-10, now he's 32-10. 32-10. He's over 75% winner, and this guy has really turned it around. Navy should have little trouble. Notre Dame should have little trouble with Navy. They're 35-point favorites, and I think if you're going to do anything, just go ahead and unbuckle and bet on the Domers this week. But anyway, Indiana, I'm going to pick over Michigan State. Michigan State a slight favorite coming to Bloomington to play Indiana. Indiana smarting after that loss to Michigan. I think Indiana will really come back. Anthony Thompson really needs a good game to get back into the thick, I think. That's my opinion. If he's going to win the Heisman, he's going to have to really start getting some touchdowns, getting that ball into the end zone. Michigan should beat Purdue easily. I think they're 35-point favorites also, and they should they should beat Purdue by that easy. Kentucky will beat Cincinnati, no question. They're 30-point favorites. And let's hope, my heavens, that U of L gets back on a winning streak at home here against Western Kentucky. And I just left Schnellenberger today, and I tell you, he's had a hard 3 weeks. He's lost 3 games in the last 30 or 40 seconds, so it's been a tough week for our coach Schnellenberger, and they'll get back on the winning track. If they win the next 4, they can really kind of turn it around. They've got a couple of tough games away, Boston College, and of course when they go to Japan to play Syracuse. But they should be competitive there, and they could win the last 4, so we're going to hope for that. Tennessee's got a bye this week, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at the Paul's Pros picks. We'll take a look at the whole NFL lineup against the spread. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Mr. Ian McKenzie. I'm Angus McKenzie. Ian's moved down the road.
Today, with service to 175 countries,
Oh, you'd be wanting Ian Alistair Mackenzie.
UPS delivers to nearly 4 billion people,
Also for Mackenzie.
including the extraordinary concentration of Mackenzies along the northeast coast of Scotland.
Mr. Ian Alistair Mackenzie.
No trouble finding me, did you, lad?
No trouble at all.
UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
It's here. It started. Lotto has come to make new Kentucky millionaires. And just one more thing. Now, summarizing my key points.
Play Lotto Kentucky. Tickets are on sale now, and the drawing is at 7:28 p.m. on, well, take a wild guess. It's a whole new reason to love Saturdays.
Bill Collins, how do you do?
Bill Collins Ford celebrates their 20th anniversary with special deals available only at Bill Collins Ford. Now get 9.9 financing plus rebates up to $1,250. Most dealers offer one or the other, but now during Bill Collins' 20th anniversary, you get both. 9.9 plus rebates up to $1,250 on every 89 and 90 in stock. Choose from over 400 new cars and trucks at Bill Collins Ford. See Friday or Sunday's Courier Journal for details.
It's the right beer now.
But not now.
It's the right beer now.
But definitely not now.
Coors Light, it's the right beer now.
And absolutely, positively, not now. No way.
Come on, Jimmy, let me get your camera.
Okay. Welcome back. And the piece we have for you tonight from the NFL out of Philadelphia, I think you're really going to enjoy because, you know, 25 years ago, the defense, people played defense in the National Football League, didn't get too much publicity. I think Sam Huff was probably the first defensive guy who really became a star in New York. Well, there was a guy who played out west. He played out west with a team called Denver, and he got very, very popular in a very short period of time. His name was Tombstone Jackson. I don't know if you remember that, but he was quite a football player. Let's watch.
He was called Tombstone, a name that symbolized the end of the line, the final resting place for quarterbacks and running backs. Where there was order, he created chaos, churning up firestorms in the pass pocket. This one-man gang built a justifiably frightening reputation for scaring both friend and foe alike.
I would imagine being on the same ball club, watching me do things that was somewhat extraordinary would strike fear in someone. At times, I would look at films and at myself, and I would conclude the same thing, that this guy is unreal.
No one could handle him. He was just that powerful. I've seen him pick tackles up and just throw them out of the way. Just devastate people. Once he got a hold of you, once he had his hands on you, it was over.
The thing
that I liked about him, and why I would say he's one of the two greatest defensive ends I've ever seen, the other one being Deacon Jones.
David Deacon Jones played defensive end for the Rams and gobbled up publicity almost as fast as he swallowed up quarterbacks. Playing in the same era, Jones stole Jackson Thunder, and some say pilfered his patented move as well.
I developed the thing they call a head slap, because anytime you go upside a man's head or a woman, then they have a tendency to blink their eyes or close their eyes, and that was all I needed.
The inventor of the head slap. I had halo spinner. I had the bulldog moves. I come off the ball in the sprinter stance, low and hard. It's a matter of taking the left hand and throwing it up. And you're gone. Made the motion with my left hand to the side of the head. Oftentimes the quarterback is sitting there like ducks in a pond. I used another move, which I call a halo spinner. You come off of the head slap, come back inside, up the pipe. By a double head slap. And it would boom, just like so. And that gave you a headache for the entire, you finished then, really.
He hit me the hardest of anybody that ever hit me side the head. And it was like a mule kicked me in the head when he hit me, you know. And you don't let an opponent know he hurt you. But he hit me, all I could see was stars, and I could barely make it back to the huddle.
Boy, that thing would come up on the side of your head, either side, just knock you for a loop. It was like a Joe Frazier left hook. Just stop you dead in your tracks.
Oakland Raiders came into town, and they were the powerhouse of the league. Him and Bob Brown were written up in the papers as the match of the century. Bob Brown didn't last 3 quarters with Rich. Rich had his nose bloodied, and Bob Brown, the boom was on the ground, and Rich was running over him and around him. And I mean, Rich never had anybody that really could stop him.
I covered one game where he turned the game himself and he destroyed a player's career. This was a young offensive tackle the Jets had called Sam Walton, and he slapped him right on, slapped him right onto the bench, and he could split a helmet with that thing. And I remember after the game, Weed Eubank in the locker room, he was just talking to himself, and he said he made him look like one of those bobble-headed dolls that you put in the car. And you know, he was the kind of guy that could just turn a game by himself.
I was on one end and he was on the other, and I could hear Rich talking to the guy. You know, I'm gonna knock your head off. I'm coming, boy. Here I come, boy. Hear my footsteps. Stuff like that. And the tackle would be like this. He would stand there, and as the back would come, the back's eyes would get this big, and Rich would just knock him right to the ground. It's pretty amazing.
The sad irony is that the final resting spot for the tombstone will not be the Hall of Fame, for he is destined to be more a part of pro football's folklore than its recorded history.
He's one of the players, and some have come through professional football that were truly great, but will only get the recognition of being truly great from their peers and only in memory. But Richard Jackson was one of the great players in the National Football League.
But was he the best defensive end of all time? Nobody probably even remembers him, do you? You're sitting at home or you're sitting down here at the restaurant, I'm sure you don't even know who in the hell Tombstone Jackson is. But I'll tell you one thing. The best defensive end that's ever played wasn't Bruce Smith. You know, it wasn't Willie Davis, who played with the Green Bay Packers, my teammate, who was a great defensive end. It wasn't Deacon Jones. There's only one in my estimation. His name was Doug Atkins. He was 6'9", and he could high jump 6'9". He was a graduate of the University of Tennessee. He was the best defensive end, I think, that's ever played in the game. They never kept track of the sacks back in those days for Doug. But I witnessed this his last year in professional football when he went to the New Orleans Saints in his very first year. He had 30 sacks, and he was over the hill by this time. 30, he got the quarterback 30 times in one game. Didn't even keep sacks in those days. Now, if a defensive end gets a quarterback 16 or 17 times, for heaven's sakes, in a 16-game season, he's Houdini. Nobody was as good as Doug Atkins. I blocked him maybe 4 times in 10 years, total in 10 years. And I might have blocked him 4 more times than most backs in the history. But anyway, now, welcome to the Coors Light NFL Paul's Picks. We're halfway through the season. At the halfway point, we've had 112 games. And I'm still treading water. Last week, again, I was 8-5 going into Monday night. For the 4th straight week, I could have had a real good week. I could have picked 9-5 against the number, and I'm losing every Monday night. I'm going back to the old theory. I'm taking a home team. I don't care what it is. On Monday night, I picked Minnesota again. They're my best bet of the week coming up. But anyway, I was 8-6 again last week. Now, for the halfway point, I'm 61-50 and 1 tie against the spread. So we're 11 games over 500 here at the halfway point. And taking a look at the NFL, I think 8 teams are out of it as far as the playoffs are concerned. That means 20 out of the 28 teams are still live for the playoffs, and those teams have to have at least a 4-4 record at the halfway point. Of course, San Francisco looks like a cinch. I still think they are the class of all the teams in the National Football League. Now let's take a look very quickly at the first 7 games. Houston should have little trouble with Detroit. Detroit's having a real tough time, of course. Detroit is 10-point underdogs, but they should give up at least 35 points to Houston at home. Miami is a 3-point favorite over Indianapolis. Indianapolis having a very tough time. Miami's still 4-4 and still with an outside shot. Marino may get hot. I like him at home. Dickerson has still got a hamstring, which is, for a running back, one of the worst injuries you could have because it's just nagging enough. You just can't run full speed, and it's not bad enough for that to put you on injured reserve. So you're between a rock and a hard place with the hamstring, and this has really hurt the running attack for the Colts. Miami laid the 3. The Jets and New England, and as once again we say, who cares? New England 7.5-point favorites. The Jets are 1-7. They're 1-7 against the spread also. So I'm gonna take New England and lay the 7.5 points. Steve Grogan makes a difference here. And Seattle's at Kansas City. Kansas City's 2.5-point favorites. Kansas City is 5-1 straight up in the last 6 games at home. But listen to this. They're 8-1 against the number, 8-1 against the spread. The last 9 games at home at Arrowhead Stadium. So I'm going to go with that. Kansas City lay the 2.5 points, and I think this is one of the best games of the weekend to take also. I like the home teams this week. Minnesota always has a habit of just coming back and clobbering a team after losing on the road last week. Minnesota here is 4.5 favorites. They're back home. The Rams were 5-0. You remember that? Now they're 5-3. They're struggling. And watch Minnesota. They will be good this Sunday. I like Minnesota, the best bet of the week. Minnesota lay the 4.5. Cleveland, and this looks like a sucker thing, doesn't it? Cleveland 3-point favorites over Tampa Bay. That looks like a dead cinch. You got to take Cleveland, right? No, I like Tampa Bay at home. They're 3-0 against the spread as a home team dog, and I like Tampa Bay plus the 3 playing at home. In Chicago and Green Bay, I'm going to go up for that ball game. I'm going to get a chance to go up and watch the Packers play, and I think the Packers, they've lost 11 out of the last 12 to the Bears, but they've got the best quarterback in the league right now. He's having the best year of them all. Mikowski is #1 rated quarterback in the National Football League, and I think in a tough, Bears are not a good road team this year. I'm going to take my Packers plus the 3, and we'll be back with Coors Light, the rest of the NFL, Paul's picks in just a minute.
If you don't want to slow down on your way to the top,
It's the right beer now.
because you know to make a beer as refreshing as a mountain stream, you got to start with a mountain stream.
It's the right beer now.
When a night on the town might last all night, call for the taste preferred at Better Night Spots. The silver bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
It's the right beer now.
We could have been satisfied being the home of the chimichanga. After all, a chimichanga is the Chi-Chi's celebration, all wrapped up in a tortilla. But hearing you say wow wasn't enough, so we created the Cowabunga Chimichanga Special. It's our famous chimichanga plus cheese, nachos, and sopapillas, all for $6.95. Wow, you say? No, Cowabunga.
Chi-Chi, Chi-Chi, a celebration of food.
Well, if you don't think that football fans are fickle, they took a vote in Buffalo last week, and they said, who would you like to start at quarterback, Frank Reich or Jim Kelly? Jim Kelly may be able to play. Do you know that 56% of the people in Buffalo voted that Frank Reich start over Jim Kelly, which is absolutely ridiculous, even though Buffalo has won the last 3 with Frank Reich doing a wonderful job of substituting for Jim Kelly, but he's no Jim Kelly. Kelly may be back. They're going to Atlanta. They haven't played well on the road. I like Atlanta playing at home. Home team dog. What can I tell you? Philadelphia should beat San Diego. San Diego had one hell of a loss last week, a real tough one in the last minute. I don't know how they're going to respond to that. Philadelphia should have little trouble with San Diego. Philadelphia's on a roll. Cunningham hasn't been that great a quarterback this year, but he's a winner. The Giants go to Phoenix, and the Giants are 4-point favorites. This is another one that looks like a cinch, right? I like Phoenix here. New York is only 4-10 the last 14 games as a favorite on the road, so they are not a good road team either. Cincinnati is 1.5-point favorites over the Raiders. Cincinnati players think they're going to win them all. I don't know. The Raiders are 3-1 with Art Shell. I like the Raiders playing at home. It's another one of those. There's not too many teams that are very, very good road teams. I think the San Francisco 49ers stand out in that class. But when you put a lot of good teams together, it seems like they can win at home, but they can't win on the road, and that's what we're seeing today. Pittsburgh and Denver. Denver's 7.5-point favorites. Another great road team, but Bubby Brister is back. And Pittsburgh moves the football with Bubby Brister, and Elway is not having a great year. I like Pittsburgh plus a 7.5. Dallas and Washington. Washington, 14-point favorites. This is Sunday night, ESPN. Redskins. Dallas is terrible. 1-7 against the number, 0-8 on the year. They might lose every ball game. New Orleans and San Francisco. 49ers are 5.5-point favorites. This could be a very, very close football game. 49ers been playing a lot better on the road. Now they go home. And I'll tell you one thing, Monday night against Saints, this is going to be a war. I think it's going to be decided by a field goal. I'm going to take, no, I'm not. I'm going to the home team. I told you I was going to go to the home team. I like San Francisco and lay the 5.5 points. And we'll be back, and I'll tell you who's going to be here in the next couple of weeks. Just a minute.
Some insurance didn't even pay for your mom's allergy shots.
Or your cold last month. And because I didn't reach the deductible, it didn't pay for my stitches.
Humana has a range of plans to meet your needs, from affordable deductibles to no deductible at all.
Sue, what did my company insurance cover last year?
Nothing.
If you want coverage you can use, you want Humana.
Paul Hornung here for J.C. Bradford. You know, I've been investing with J.C. Bradford for over 20 years. Why? Well, first of all, I trust them. They know what they're doing here, and the bottom line is I've made money with J.C. Bradford. You don't have to have a large portfolio to get good service from Bradford's brokers. Here at Bradford, they treat everyone like a big investor. They really do care. So if you want to watch your money grow, call J.C. Bradford and let them go to work for you. I did.
Once again, I want to thank Eddie Arcaro and Don Brumfield for dropping by and being a special guest on the show. It really is a great honor for me to have those two guys on this show. And I want to tell you another thing. I'm going to get Bobby Knight. I have to go up there and drag him by the neck. He called me back. I missed him. And when you call him, once basketball season starts, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm also going to go up and have to tape the interview with Rick Pitino. He won't leave after the basketball season starts. But I tell you what, next week we're going to have Jimmy the Greek. The Greek's going to fly in, be on the show right here, and it's going to give us a lot of competition in picking these games. You know, Greek's one of the great handicappers of all time. Thank God he's got a lot of money because he's lost his tail a lot of times right here at this racetrack, I'll tell you that. But I tell you, he's a good friend, and we're going to have some fun with Jimmy the Greek next week. We were going to have Gail Sayers, but Gail had a little complication at home. He assured me he will be here a little bit later on, maybe in December. And a very special thing might happen here in November. We don't get Bobby Knight here. Joe DiMaggio called me last week, and he said he would try his best to make it one Thursday night. I said I'd send an airplane after him. Somehow we'll get him here. And hopefully we'll have Joe DiMaggio on this show, which will be one of my great honors. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed the show tonight. And remember, right here, Store Cable Channel 11, next Thursday night, it's live show, and we want to see you. So come on back. Thank you.
The Paul Hornung Sports Showcase has been brought to you by UPS. We run the tightest ship in the shipping business. By the Collins Auto Group, where one name means more. More selection, more value, more service. By Humana, high-quality healthcare services at affordable prices. By Coors Light, there's no slowing down the silver bullet. By your local Chi-Chi's Mexican restaurant, where every day is a celebration of food.